This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for May 5, 2023. And in the news this afternoon, UK's calls for review of IDT amid a stalemate with UC Russell. The hearing between the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees and the UC Russell to address issues surrounding salary for workers at a bauxite company Windalco was delayed Wednesday when the parties appeared before the Industrial Disputes Tribunal. The tribunal adjourned the hearing until July 17 to give the company more time to submit its brief. But this has not gone down well with UK's. UK's General Secretary John Levy blasted the tribunal over its decision, arguing that the workers have been without a new contract since January 2022.
The union is extremely disappointed with the latest turn of events, and we are of the view that this entire arrangement in relation to the IDT and essential services needs some urgent review. There is a 21-day arrangement in the Labour Relations and Industrial Disputes Act that speaks to the tribunal making award within 21 days of matters going before the tribunal. I am not aware of that has ever happened in the last 20 odd years, and it is of concern to the workers out there who are bound by this entire essential service arrangement and who are subject to certain rules and certain procedures and are bound to obey instructions of the IDT, etc., without putting them in legal wranglings. 17th of July, which is essentially the IDT is going to start here in the matter, almost 21 months into the 24-month contract period. The contract comes to an end at the end of October. So the workers are going to be again carrying the bag. And, it is becoming frustrating now, I must tell you. And it's not just in this particular matter, but generally speaking, that entire process of essential services and the IDT needs urgent review.
Schools to receive support for assessment of grade 6 students. The Ministry of Education is providing support to schools for the psycho-educational assessment of grade 6 students who are performing significantly and consistently below the desired grade level. The results will be used to guide the teaching and learning plans for the new school year. Grade 6 teachers and supervisors are being advised to inform the Ministry of the Children who qualify for this support. In a recent bulletin, the ministry said that the fully funded support is part of several strategies to close the learning gaps that exist in the education sector. Students will not be tested to gather the information. Teachers are required to use data gathered through their observation of students and the previous assessment scores from either the informal diagnostic reading inventory, language performance task, numeracy performance task, or any other previously administered instrument recognized by the ministry. Only grade 6 students performing at the grade 3 level or below should be included on the template. The ministry said that the venture is costly, and as such, it will absorb the cost in response to the thrust to improve student success. Man shot by gunman in Bog Walk. A man was shot and injured in Bog Walk, St. Catherine yesterday afternoon. He remains in hospital. It is reported that about 4:45 he was conducting business along 13 Lane when he was ambushed by a gunman who opened fire. He was hit in the head. His attacker fled on foot. An alarm was raised and the injured man was rushed to the Linstead Hospital. Integrity Commission urges persons making disclosures to do so responsibly. Individuals making disclosures to the Integrity Commission under the Protected Disclosures Act 2011 are encouraged to do so in good faith and in the public's interest. This urging comes from the agency's Senior Complaints Review Officer, Elisa Darby, who implores the persons providing information to do so responsibly. It is not about making a complaint because you have a vendetta against someone. You want to ensure that you are doing so in good faith, Darby said. Persons can provide information anonymously under the Integrity Commission Act 2017. You don't have to give your name. You don't have to give any identifying information. What we do ask members of the public to do is to give us as much information to process the complaint that you have made, Darby said. Meanwhile, Senior Protected Disclosures Officer in the Commission's Information and Complaints Division, Tanisha Fagan, said entities must establish the procedures for dealing with disclosures. She noted that under the legislation, a person who makes a disclosure must be an employee or employer within the entity that they are making the disclosure about. Fagan advised that the disclosures could relate to conduct that is likely to result in the breakdown of justice or damage to the environment or threaten the health or safety of a person. Individuals can also make reports about conduct reflecting gross mismanagement, impropriety, or misconduct in the execution of activities involving the use of public funds. She informed that entities must have at least one person as a designated officer responsible for receiving and investigating disclosures. The designated officer would also have the responsibility of providing an update on the progress of the investigation, findings and recommendations to his employer, the person making the disclosure, and the designated authority. In the first instance, it is recommended that the report is made to the designated officer within the entity. If it's a case in which the report was made orally, that designated officer has to record the report in writing within 24 hours of receipt, Fagan said, pointing out that reports can also be emailed. Regarding confidentiality, Fagan said that under the Protected Disclosures Act, the employer must take all reasonable steps to protect the identity of an employee who makes a disclosure and treat all statements given and information provided as secret and confidential. There is an obligation to secrecy and confidentiality, and if there is a breach of confidentiality, this is an offense and the person is liable for prosecution, she added. On January 25, 2021, by way of the Jamaica Gazette, the Integrity Commission was named the designated authority by the Minister of Justice to execute the functions pursuant to the Protected Disclosures Act 2011. Dawes to represent the PNP in Southeast St. Catherine. Medical Dr. Alfred Dawes has been selected by the People's National Party to be its standard bearer in Southeast St. Catherine in the next general election. The decision came on Wednesday when PNP President Mark Golding used his authority to select Dawes over counsel for the Bridgeport Division and the Deputy Mayor of Portmore, Alric Campbell, who was the other aspirant for the position. The decision by the party president sparked a late evening demonstration by a group of delegates and other persons supportive of Campbell, who claimed that Golding did not follow the process outlined to them for the selection of the candidate. The party's National Executive Committee, the highest decision-making body outside of the national conference, had stated in a document, a copy of which was obtained by the news, that delegates in the constituency would have the final say. A source who was in the meeting when the decision was announced told the news that Golding felt that Dawes was the better choice because of his national profile. The source said this position disregarded Campbell's 15-year tenure as councillor for a division in the constituency. A late-night statement issued to the media under the signature of Campbell's campaign manager, Ricardo James, said Campbell and his entire team were stunned by Golding's decision to use the reserved powers so early in the process. I can admit to feeling wronged by the use of the reserved powers at this point in the process. I believe that myself, my campaign team, and the constituents of Southeast St. Catherine have been denied a true democratic opportunity, Campbell was quoted as saying. The decision is to be ratified by the NEC at its next meeting. The St. Catherine Southeast constituency was won by the Jamaica Labour Party's Robert Miller in the 2020 general election, breaking a 27-year dominance by the PNP. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.